Chronicle of the Crown, session 22, and we're going to jump straight in. So it's morning in the holy city of Caer Amoros, and our heroes are in what would probably be called a tea house for the upper crust in Caer Amoros. A place where you can get some food, tea. There's various different tobacco products being enjoyed as well. We are situated close to a small fountain, which has a ruined, thoroughly ruined, yet to be restored statue of possibly a saint, maybe a leading figure of nobility from a bygone age, which has been retrieved from the wreckage of the war and positioned here as a centerpiece for the fountain. But it is wrecked, but it is in a way it has been repurposed now in rather tasteful way, and we are sat at a table. There's some nibbles there for you to eat for breakfast, and of course tea. And you are accompanied by what was our friend's name again? I don't think I have it down here.
The noble that we're meeting.
Yes.
It was Sir Raphael Igras.
Right. So Captain Igras is with you this morning, and you've exchanged pleasantries. He is a what I guess you could call a silver fox. He is quite old, getting there, and currently wearing, I want to say, sort of a tabard over some light chainmail. Not really, fully armored, but still, he has some on, and then a decorative tabard befitting his rank in the Dorsian palace guard that he now is a captain in. You've exchanged pleasantries, maybe some old, inside jokes with Ishmael, because you know him from back in the day.
Yeah, I imagine Ishmael's sort of like a little bit more sort of trying to seat himself a little bit nearer the back, so maybe like staying in the shadows a little bit. Because obviously last time he met Sir Igres, he was a proud warrior of faith, and now he's like this sort of bitter, jaded, sort of like faithless man with like his body like ravaged by this disease. So I imagine he's trying to sort of like sit a little bit in the shadows, so it's not quite so obvious like how far he's fallen from his previous state.
So, says Captain Igres, setting down a teacup. There's more to this than, I suppose, talking about the good old days and, quirks an eyebrow at Ishmael.
Yes, there is more to it, but first, do you have my signet ring? At which point he sort of like reaches his hand out, and as his like hand moves into the light, it's probably like the first time that Sir Igres has like seen like his hands are like bandaged up and also like slightly crooked, as this like, sort of, like withered like claw extends.
Yeah, he digs into a pocket, hands over a handkerchief, which is sort of in a clump, and hands it over to you.
Thank you. And I sort of the hand retreats back.
Yeah.
And I say, yes, there is much has changed. I called for this meeting on behalf of an acquaintance of mine here, Cameron Redwin, and I sort of gesture, and this is our colleague Wyatt. I'm sure Cameron can do a better job than myself in explaining why he asked for this meeting, but I am grateful in the name of our old friendship that you agreed to attend. It has been some time.
Indeed, it has, and we should discuss perhaps later all that has befallen you, Ishmael. And gives a sort of like subtle nod, like downwards, sort of indicating your hand. He reaches out with his own to Wyatt, like, Mr. Wyatt.
I take his hand, I'll shake it, and remain silent.
And reaches over to Cameron. He's like, and Mr. Cameron.
Yeah. So while Ishmael's been talking, I've just been drinking a little cup. I'm kind of giving the alcohol a little miss. Last few days been a bit rough.
Mm-hmm.
So having like I guess their version of it, like a hot, spicy tea.
Mm-hmm.
I've been like just feeding my familiar, just sort of by the table, just kind of giving it some attention, preparing it, and then as introductions are done, I reach it with my hand and shake Raphael.
Yep.
Pleasure to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, Mr. Egress. Or Raphael, if you prefer.
Whichever is fine. I
Yes,
hope
it
all
is I.
good. I hope that you've heard. All good. I hope that you've heard.
True. That's what I heard. True enough, I think.
Turns to Ishmael and says, "I like this one already." I agree. The truth is much more important than the good.
Indeed, I've never, in the time I've known him, I've never known Mr. Redwing to speak a falsehood to me. And as I'm sure you remember, Raphael, my previous and your previous line of business, we are plain speaking men. We have little time for deception, and such things such delays can mean the difference between success and defeat in a venture.
I'm gonna be straight with you, Captain.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I want to hire you, and the terms I'm going to offer may seem unfavorable.
I
yet-
accept. He says with a slight smile, and leans over to take the coffee, the tea cup again, and takes a sip.
Well, that was a lot easier than I expected. So, I guess they put me on the back foot. What made you so confident to join me and my colleagues without so much as a question?
Are you a person of faith, Cameron?
Not really. I was a person who believed in my own abilities, perhaps a bit too much.
I think for a sort of like a bit of comedy timing, then as Ishmael's just sort of like lifting his like chai tea to his mouth and sort of taking a sip of it when he's like, "Are you a man of faith, Cameron?" And he's a bit like, but he tries to like disguise it as like he's coughing, and then just puts the tea down and like.
I spend a large portion of my life, Captain, learning about the things out there, from the lowly spirits of the dead. That's no insult to them, but there is a hierarchy of sorts. To the literal forces of nature of this world, there is indeed gods out there, but
They are very real, as I keep trying to tell our
whether or not they have any inclination to our welfare, that is unlikely.
Oh, most certainly not.
However, I do have faith in something. I do have something that humanity, given a chance, tends towards the good. But it's something that must be nurtured and easily falls to darkness, if you'll take a bit of philosophical.
It's a wise thing to place your faith in men, Cameron, rather than deities.
Why do you ask? I am not exactly a messianic figure. I glance at my shadow very briefly, with a kind of slight sparkles.
Yeah. No, the shadow has a rather more deep shade to it than would be there for for morning, and it's if you look at it long enough, it looks more like a night sky than it does a shadow. Egress sets down the cup again and folds his hands in his lap and says, I have been since I was small. And Ishmael no doubt has informed you of our shared past in the more aggressive pursuits of the Covenant in the East.
That's what youth does to you.
And this is something Ishmael is not aware of. Not many are, but I have, well, as you see me, carrying different colors. There is a different name now for the things that I have held up through my life. And, well, that has given me some more perspective in the recent years, life here. But the true revelation, I suppose, if you forbid me if you don't mind me using the language of the clergy, a mere soldier as I am, we pushed through the wall during the siege, and I was pursuing a retreating group of soldiers.
I remember this battle. I think Ishmael has told me of it.
The South Wall. I think
Yeah.
Ishmael was supposed to be there. I suppose he was, if he remembers this.
Indeed, I was.
I pursued with my troop these defenders to a small shrine, defensible structure, good play, but they were locked in, no way out that I could tell. So we set about dismantling their defense with the time on our side. In a way, in that moment, not in a siege, not by large amounts in the grand scheme of things, but in that moment we had the advantage. They were locked in. They had a spear wall, shields. It takes a time to dismantle it, but you can do it when there's nowhere for them to go. And so we set about the bloody business, and this is something you may not be aware of, but Ishmael will be able to regale you with the bloody details of war, no doubt. There was a point in the butchery that me and my fellow soldiers, my own and our adversaries, something sublime occurred. I'm not a poet. I'm not going to try. Call it a vision. I was waiting for today, for this. That's why.
You've been expecting me all this time?
I not you specifically, for I did not know you. But for this, I know that this is as it is supposed to be. This is meant to be something set in motion by the powers. Whether you call it the flame, the first flame, as I did so many years, or you call it the light.
You say this was fated. Cameron
Yes.
sort of just with a ghost of a smile.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it was given to us in that shrine where us calling upon the first flame to give us strength, our foes calling upon the light for perseverance. We were all given the gift of higher understanding. And I cannot speak for my fellows, but I was given this. the understanding of this, the rightness of this, even though I do not know what it entails fully. But as I said, I'm a man of faith, and
this does simplify things.
you
Yes,
seek
how-
to your wording could use some work, Mr. Cameron.
It's not something I have been born to, but I'm learning.
He isn't delicate.
I've not spent as much time around nobles as one would believe, but while I appreciate what you're saying, and I certainly accept your agreement to join us in our little growing band, I would say, based on my own experiences, that don't follow me blindly.
No,
Of me
no.
and the Dark Watches.
I follow not you. I follow the powers. You are an instrument, such as we all are, and I and my fellow compatriots, who some of them will join me, I am sure. We have been given the gift of understanding and peace. For in that shrine, after the vision, we lay down our arms and we surrendered to our new brethren who accept us as their own.
Patriots, you say? You don't have any of them here right now, do you?
I perhaps not sure. I did not bring any with me. They may be about. For
Yes.
I
Yes,
did
they
not.
may.
I did not think to bring guards with me, for I have been seeing this moment for years. I know what happens.
You may be assured of no danger or ill intent from us, old friend.
Yeah.
I assure you, Cameron, that if Raphael says that he had this epiphany and he has had this a vision of this moment, then it is the truth. For he is many things. He is a mighty warrior, a man of faith, such as I once was. But he has never been deceitful. If he says that this is what he experienced, then I would stake my reputation, such as it is, that it is so.
It's okay, Ishmael. I'm already sold on him. Well, if you see, if recruiting you has proven to be sort of a trifling matter, surprises. Always nice to be surprised.
I'm glad that I can be described as a trifle. It amuses me, Mr. Cameron. It will not remain so, I think.
I believe
we have
Cameron,
much work for you.
I believe Cameron was expecting this this meeting to involve far more persuasion on his
Negotiation.
part. I think his words are not born of any disrespect, old friend, but of a simple relief that one such as yourself has chosen so readily to join our cause.
Normally, getting people to help us is very problematic.
It takes a considerable effort to motivate a person towards the good, I find.
Agreed. You often need a harsh lesson before you see the error of your ways.
Perhaps, Cameron, you should tell Raphael something of our aims in this matter.
Yes, so I did not expect to speak of this day. I expected to be negotiating with minimal funds and good promises that hopefully would be cashed in at some point. But this is this is delightful. How
As
much?
this conversation is proceeding, the two of you will notice that Wyatt has fixated on the bar of the tea house and on a group of men who seem very nondescript. They just look like maybe they could be dock workers. They could be just, perhaps porters. They could be anything, but
Or anyone.
or anyone. And I'm fixated on them. I sort of have this wild look in my eyes that swirl like storm clouds. And Cameron, you will note, because you can get a sense of this, you can see that my hands in my lap are moving in eldritch patterns.
Okay.
And I'm clearly casting something. And Wheelmaster, I'd like to cast Weatherworking.
Let us turn. Fuck. Let me go retrieve my books.
I have all the info we need if you need it.
Well,
I got it all.
that's good. Yeah.
So essentially, it's
Turn to page 395.
So basically, it's obstacle 5, and then I got to declare how much over, like anything over that is basically the effect. So basically, if I'm aiming high for something, for example, then I got to pump it up basically. Otherwise, the effects will be minimal essentially because it goes on the natural effect chart.
Yep.
So I will put it together. Let's see if my dice actually work. Bear with me one moment. What was the current weather conditions? That also affects it as well, I think.
Sort of semi-cloudy.
Okay, semi-cloudy. It actually works in my favor. That's perfect.
I think assuming as you've said, why that we've noticed this, my sort of hand, as appropriate to my instincts, will have like moved to it's just sort of like resting on the pommel of my sword underneath my robe, just in case.
I am totally distracted by the fact that this guy, this captain, is one of the few people I've met that actually looks me directly in the eye. Like he's just, like he's not, I don't freak him out or anything. He's not weirded out by me or concerned. He just seems very at peace with himself, and that's just odd.
He's got higher.
Exactly.
He's looking higher.
I think as well, Cameron, you probably noticed that during the course of this conversation, when Raphael was like talking about being a man of faith and he's seen this prophecy and everything, you probably noticed like a slightly sort of like wistful sort of like look in like Ishmael's eyes, because he's sort of remembering when he had that surety of faith, and now he really doesn't. But although he can't just sort of like reset himself back to that, he almost wishes he could. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, he misses the
surety
the
of
comfort.
Like, yeah, because obviously Raphael's like, yes, I know this is supposed to happen. This is the will of the divine, and Ishmael doesn't have that sort of guiding light anymore, and he almost sort of misses it.
So I'm going to continue talking to this guy, even if I'm about to get stabbed again.
Yep. Well, let's see. Something else might kick off. Yes.
Very quickly, Wheelmaster. I cannot, because I'm doing this from my phone. I cannot actually see if I got any 6s in that or not.
It doesn't matter because it all automatically rolls.
Oh, did that for me already, right? On this one.
So what you can do now is spend a fate to roll one of the dice again that didn't succeed, because this one is already open-ended. So that's what fate does.
That's totally what I want to do then.
Yeah. So 50-50, and this would be fantastic if this goes haywire.
Well, I actually, I honestly don't care if it works or not. That's kind of like where I'm at right now, because I'm so well. You all see that there's a wild look in my eye. Let me just see if that works.
There you go. You got the 5. You got the 5 successes.
Fantastic. Unfortunately for me, I have to just refer to the chart very quickly. So essentially, yes. Okay. So essentially, it's basically I got the success, but it's sort of minor. So essentially, kind of what ends up happening is, if you don't mind me taking slight narrative license here,
Yeah, but it depends. Let's see. Let's see where we're going.
with it is basically all that really kind of happens is that from the slightly cloudy but relatively like benign sky, there's a peal of thunder, and a stiff breeze sort of washes over like the whole place, and like maybe like knocks some teacups over, or maybe ruffles some feathers, but that's it. um, that's all I man. Actually, funnily enough, that's it's good that I succeeded, but that's all like really that it says I can do right now. So
Yep. Yep.
it's like I'm casting. I'm like I look furtive, and I look like Ishmael's kind of seen this look before, probably. It's the sort of look that I'm like that sort of 1,000-yard stare, that sort of manic need to sort of get out of whatever situation that it's in. He's seen that probably look in the eyes of soldiers who are, facing down death and not having any other way out. Essentially, that's sort of how I look at the moment. But all that comes of it, and Cameron knows obviously that I've cast some sort of spell, but all that seems to come of it is this clap of thunder and a little bit of a breeze.
Yeah, I like to think that sort of recognising that look in your eyes, and obviously I'm sat sort of next to Cameron. We're talking with Raphael. I'm assuming that back in our days as Crusaders, they would have had like the standard sort of like military like hand signals, for like communicating
Yes.
when the chaos of battle's going on. I'm going to sort of like just with one of my hands as best as I can in my sort of like in my current state, sort of make like a hand signal for the like danger, or like we sort of like we might be about to come under attack, and then I'm going to put my hand on my sword again, and I'm going to sort of like look over in the direction, like with a slight tilt of my head towards these people that I've seen Wyatt regarding, just to basically give Raphael a heads up, so like if something does kick off, he's not taken by surprise. I mean, I expect to have clocked them anyway, but I want him to know that like it's not any part of what we're doing.
So the good captain sort of glances up and says, "Well, it hardly ever thunders from a plain sky. There's an evil will at work. I think we best go."
Yes, we best go. Yes.
I agree. Do you have somewhere you'd like us to adjourn to, Raphael?
Perhaps you have somewhere. He looks to Cameron as he says this.
I'm gonna lean into Cameron at that point. I'm gonna put my mouth like literally like against his ear, like uncomfortably, like you feel my lips on your ear, like it's like very like weird and intimate. The way I'm leaning in to whisper to you here, Cameron, like we can't take him anywhere. We don't know if we can trust him yet. He could be with them still. You don't know. You don't know.
Pretty confident he's on the level, Wyatt. At least, if he is masquerading, he's doing a far better job than I have ever been able to.
I have a question for you, Cameron. Do you say that loudly, or do you whisper that back
I
to
whisper
me?
it to you, obviously. I'm
Just making sure.
I don't know. Why? Seems
I don't know.
okay.
Seems
I
okay
like
to
this
me,
guy. I
buddy.
like to call him his chin.
I'm not gonna go full klaxon, just like. I think perhaps just speaking to Ishmael, there was a church that Ishmael took me to, that was giving food to the disenfranchised in the city. I believe that would probably be quiet and bereft of hungry years.
Do you mean the abbey where Father Ambrogino
Yes,
does
sorry,
his
yes.
work?
Yeah.
yes, we might find respite there for a small while. If you'll all follow me, and I sort of stand up, and so again with the slight sort of like limpy walk that I've got, I start sort of like leading them out of the open air, the sort of courtyard, down through the streets. I'll probably try and take like a relatively like circuitous route, so I won't be going straight there. So trying to keep an eye out, see if these people follow us or not. If they do, I'll be trying to sort of lose them in the back alleys before we get to the abbey.
All right, so that sounds like an observation roll.
Do we have observation? Is that a thing?
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
We might have it soon enough.
Do I have is that a skill?
Well, sort of Ishmael is
Is
the actor.
I don't have observation. I'm just hoping to rely on my knowledge of the back alleys to like lose them.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do a back alley, as well for
Indeed.
finding the sort of secret ways.
Okay.
So I would say that is not very difficult. Let's go with a 2.
Okay.
Losing these people in the alleys,
Okay. Base obstacle 2.
or losing your
No. My
So-
cough has betrayed me.
And now, Drury,
Yes.
we come to the part where we can sort of get to the part where we justify things,
Oh, very
because of the failing roll here. You made it a thing, but now it is solidified by
Oh, boy.
Ishmael's failing roll here.
Oh, fantastic.
So so it wasn't like it existed in a quantum state before the roll here, but now it's real. So
Oh, man, I was watching videos about qubits earlier too, so I'm on
Yeah.
my effort, bro.
yeah, so now we're looking at the thing. Now it takes form. So you go into the alleys and you you think you've lost any pursuers a couple times. You're doing a good job. However, there is a point where you find yourselves in a tight alley where there's maximum 2 people side by side between the buildings, and it's an ambush. There's people at both ends of the alley, there's
When
one.
I see
Yep.
this, I immediately turn to Cameron and I say, "I told you."
I
I'm
was
gonna-
right.
And I'm gonna, because I cast spells first and ask questions later, I'm gonna jump in and start casting.
Right. Yeah. So and Ishmael as well. Like you never put your sword away, I presume. But if you did, it's out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's 4 people that you can see right now. There's 2 on both ends of this sort of space between 2 buildings.
Okay. Well, do you want to go first, Wyatt?
Sure, because I need to figure out how to
Or do you want me to go first? Because I'll just be barreling into
go
them with a
first. Because I need
sword.
to figure out how to bump up the spell.
Yeah.
Essentially.
No problems. So you said we were ambushed, so we've got people on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like
Trapped in the alley.
it's like a short piece of alleyway, right? Like this, and there's people at both ends.
Okay. So how many people are there at both ends?
You can see 2 at both ends right now.
Okay. And having sort of like, as I'm like whooping my sword out, 'cause I'm like, obviously it's an ambush, quickly sort of like glancing around as I draw the sword, is there anything sort of like in the alley, like any rubbish, any detritus, anything like that?
Yeah. There's barrels of refuse, and there's a rack which you think on a quick glance probably meant for drying fish. There's no fish on it currently, but there's like a rack and the associated accoutrement, and I think there's like 1 small broken down wheelbarrow as well, and then some random trash and stones.
Okay, so what I'm looking to do, obviously tell me if this isn't possible, I'm just sort of going to the sort of cinematics of what I'd like to do. I basically, because I'm already sort of prepared, because of my instinct, I'm good to go. what I want to do is basically, obviously I'm focusing on the ones in front of us so we can go forwards. What I want to do is basically like kick, almost like volley one of these barrels of like refuse at them, and when they sort of like flinch instinctively or move to avoid it, as I've kicked it, I'm already on my way forward, like after it. So as they're sort of flinching, I'll take advantage of that. So give me an advantage as I go in with my sword and attempt to incapacitate them so that we can get past them. I'm not even really trying to kill them, to be honest.
Okay, so
although if that happens, I won't shed a leprous tear, you know.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly. So your intent is to open the way for escape.
Yes, basically.
It sounds like, yeah. And you're intending on using your what to achieve this?
Okay, let's just have a look. I'm mainly intending on using my sword, to be honest. The initial distractions just to try and give me an advantage on that.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Because you're basically tossing
I'd suggest maybe I could fork my intimidation into it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just to represent the like kicking the barrel and like charging down on them.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
So
sounds good. If you fail, they will. It's sort of baked in already to the let it ride here. You're gonna take a lick from them, and also by your failure, we do know that you can't get by these guys with your swordsmanship, so they will have resisted your efforts at opening the way.
Yep.
But yeah, you're gonna take a lick from them.
I'm talking a persona point into it as well.
Yeah. Let's see if Wyatt opens up a way through the wall.
Okay. Yeah. What's the base obstacle?
We'll roll. I'll resist with a roll. So
one, yeah.
For you. Yeah.
4.
Okay.
And I'm gonna spend a fate to re-roll those 2 6s I've got as well.
Yeah.
Because why would you not?
Go.
So 5 successes in all.
So these people have knives, and they're going to use them, and they have assassination-wise, for some unknown reason.
Gee, I wonder why.
And they're going to fork that into their knives. And let's see, obstacle 1. Here we go. 3 against
my 5.
5.
Yep.
5, is it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you kick the barrel on the way, and you get to basically fencing them off to like put them away. You wound them in the process, but your intent wasn't to murder them. So you're battering them away with the barrel and your sword, and the way is
I'm
now
just trying to make an opening for everyone else, and I'll be, as I'm sort of fighting them off, I'll be like gesturing like that for the others to like get through while I'm sort of like fighting them against the wall or whatever.
Yeah. So the front, the way that you were going, is now open by virtue of this. And also, Wyatt, if you would please fort test obstacle 5 for the previous spell.
Oh, for the weather working.
Yes.
Yeah, we forgot that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just checking. All right, cool. You said fort, correct? Yes.
Fort, yes. And
Sorry,
obstacle 5.
It's a pain in the ass to do this with.
Oh, I can do it.
No, I got it. It's just a matter of getting over to it. It's a bit slow on the phone. You said that's fort, correct?
Fort with an obstacle of 5. Yeah.
An obstacle of 5. I get no help here. I get no love. This is for tax, correct?
Yes.
Kind of. As much as I hate to do this, I kind of don't want to be taxed right this second. So that's the last persona at the door.
You've got a 6. You've got a 6.
Yeah. We're gonna re-roll. Just bear with.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. There we go. I've been lucky so far.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. Yep, this sure is. You don't even need to reroll. You got a 6 there, but you don't need the extras. But yeah.
Actually, I also need to roll another fort roll for the spell I just cast.
Yes,
right?
yes, you do.
Obstacle 3. That's a lesser obstacle, so I'll take that on the chin and
Yep.
just do that real quick while
I'm
we're
just
here.
sitting back and enjoying the magic ride.
Yeah, you got that too.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! The sorcery is flowing.
I hope you're not sitting back,
Unlimited
Cameron. I hope you're
fire!
running through the way that like myself and Wyatt have like opened for you, rather than like we're like, yes,
Seriously.
the way is open.
I
And
just
Cameron's
blew a
like,
hole-
it is good.
a guy in a like with a hurricane in a ball hurricane, you know. So yeah, so
you're-
basically that's what happens is that in between my hands, the swirling tempest in the shape of like a small ball develops, and I hurl it at the nearest attacker. Basically, I will stream in the same direction as Ishmael is and attack in that way. And it's if it matters to you, it's half of my will +2.
What are you trying to achieve is the more important aspect.
Murder.
Okay, so what happens is Ishmael, you fight them to the side with your swordsmanship, and then they are tossed into the wall with force and fall down as Wyatt does this. By the way, we haven't talked about this, but this is your idea of shards, right?
That's essentially it's correct.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So that's by default. That's not how Burning Wheel works, that you can reskin shit. This isn't a problem here, but it's something we need to keep in mind if you fuck this up, because it's going to have a different points on the wheel, because instead of using the earth like you do with shards,
It's air.
you're
correct.
using air. So we need to keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's not an issue. But
It's listed on. It's all that information is listed on my spell too, so we can always reference it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, they are smashed into the wall. Ishmael, you don't need to fence them anymore. They're down for the count.
Great.
And
so as they hit the wall,
You hear the crunch of the bone.
my robes are like sort of streaming out behind me because of this wind that presumably I've caught the edge.
Yep.
I'm basically just going to be like, go, go, and like wave my arms, sort of stood there leaning into the wind, like holding my sword in case they somehow struggle forward, waiting for everyone to go. Once everyone sort of like runs past, I'll then follow after them, sort of bringing up the rear guard and keeping an eye out to make sure these guys aren't pursuing us.
Yeah.
Wyatt doesn't go anywhere. He turns to face the other two.
Yeah, the guys at the back.
And Ishmael, you catch my eye as I turn, and I have that far away look again, but it's very steely, and my eyes are swirling like as if they're filled with tornadoes now.
Okay.
And I will be casting again.
I'm just going to seeing that and understanding that this is obviously a personal matter for you, and like not wanting to interfere. I'm just going to sort of like give you a nod, and then I sort of like mouth the words, "We'll be at the Abbey," because I know you know where that is already, and then I'm going to take the others and like we'll meet you at the Abbey, because I know enough about sort of like combat and like personal like matters of honor that you shouldn't be interfering when someone else is like dealing with something obviously personal to them. So I'm just going to let you deal with it and get the others to the Abbey.
It's all happened so fast. I haven't had a chance to do anything.
So Cameron, what's up? This is what's happening around you.
There's a bunch of people thrown into a wall.
Yeah, there's
We've got
two guys got tossed into a wall. Now they're down. There's a wind in the alley, and Wyatt looks like he's gonna throw down with 2 additional guys following you from the back.
I love to imagine that like in the time it's taken like Cameron to like go, oh, I think we're in an ambush. Like he started to open his mouth. I've rushed forward, sword for these guys. Wyatt's like,
Half the guys are dead already.
and I'm like,
misunderstand
go, and Wyatt's like,
the
ambush.
The captain is with us. He's not
Oh no,
turned.
Grace is still with us. Yeah.
Yeah, the captain is here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He
It's
didn't
just
bring
Wyatt's
his.
earlier phrase made me feel,
Yeah.
this guy just turned on us? No.
No.
Makes sense. No. Okay. I will depart with Ishmael because I don't want to get stabbed in an alleyway.
Okay, cool. So
If Wyatt has got this under control, which he hopefully has.
exit stage left. Wyatt, you're alone. Ali, two steely-eyed figures with wicked daggers bearing down on you.
And I'm going to be obviously casting again.
Mhm.
My intention is that I want to devastate them, but I want at least one of them to be alive long enough for me to ask him a couple of questions
Okay.
at the end, if possible.
Okay.
But as I'm casting, I'm going to say, you can send my regards to my brother in hell. And I'm going to cast the spell again.
Let's go.
Let's see if my dice rolls hold up, because
Let's
it's going
go.
so well.
Ali Wizard.
I'm not sure if
Ali
Wyatt's
Wizard,
developed
bro.
a death wish or he's really trying to work on his sorcery.
Why choose?
Yeah, why choose?
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. I gotta get to this. Oh, piss off. Hold on, bear with me 1 second.
Yep.
Really kills the narrative flow.
I'm alright
here.
to take a quick bathroom break while Wyatt
Yeah, do
destroys
it.
himself.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'll
Yeah.
be right back. Exit
Mhm.
stage left.
All right, let's see. Magic. There we go. Let's see here. Roll this bad boy up. Okay, yeah. I have literally no persona to spend, so we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, we're oh, there we
Oh,
go.
we're nailing it.
They-
Mwah.
Yeah, so but you get your thing. So what happens is the air picks up stuff, detritus from the alley with the force that you're conjuring here, and so you wanted, and you get your intent. You wanted one of them to maybe exchange some words.
Alive long enough that
Yeah.
I can ask him a couple questions.
Yeah. So what happens to the other one is the broken wheelbarrow gets picked up, and the handle just straight up goes into the forehead. Dude goes down,
Nice.
impaled in the head with the handle of a wheelbarrow, and the other one gets battered with various bits of stone and detritus, and also just gets flung into the air, falls down, like with a unpleasant, meaty crack, and lies there. You can hear the wails of this latter one. The other one died instantly. But yeah, this other one is lying there.
I'm gonna immediately run up to him. I'm going to straddle him. I'm going to grab him by his shirt, pull him up as high as my semi scrawny. I mean, I'm not out of shape, but I'm not Mr. Muscles, but I'm purely by adrenaline. I'm hauling this guy up, and I'll be like, "Tell me who sent you."
The dude is like sputtering. There's drool, but it quickly turns pink, and he coughs up and says, "You cannot escape the frame, heretic."
When he says that, I'm going to pull out my knife,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to stab him.
Yeah.
And finish
Yeah,
him off. Yeah. I'll make it clean. I'll slit his throat, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little angry about it, so I go a little deeper than I have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's gone from this mortal coil. You have devastated this alley with your sorceries.
Here, he's here. Yes. Oh, brother, where art thou?
And in the distance, as the scene closes, we have your brother on a distant rooftop, just like shaking his head, looking in your direction. As the slightly increased wind picks at his hair and clothes.
I do believe I took to
yes,
fatigue.
Yes,
it goes into that section, right?
That is accurate. Yeah,
cool. So I'm not going to be doing that again for a little bit.
Yeah, but
I look hell to the end though. There, so I can't ask for any more than that, really.
No, that was That was fantastic. You got it.
Shit.
You did it.
Yeah.
You mad lad. And we we're going to cut to the where are you leading them, Ishmael? Now.
Okay, my plan is still to lead them to Father Ambrogino's abbey, but again, I'm going to be taking a sort of non-direct route just in case we're still being followed. But yeah, the plan is to eventually end up there because I know that Wyatt already knows where that is because he's been there with me previously. So we can head to the abbey, sort of hole up there for a bit, catch our breath, wait for him to rejoin us there.
Yep, and that's where we will resume. So sometime later, and we're at the abbey. It's now sometime in the afternoon. No, midday, because we started in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. So, yeah, I guess we can take a toilet break if anyone wants, because we're probably want Cameron to be here.
Oh, actually, you know what? That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's take 5.
Oh, all right, sweet. That's a good.
Yeah. For
I gotta
once.
absorb that now. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Be back in 5. Yeah, clearly these guys made a mistake. They brought knives to a mage fight.
I'll say knives to a wind fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It does make me laugh because obviously with me sort of mainly running D&D, I forget like just how quick like combat can be in Burning Wheel. When I say you can just be like, "Oh, make a swords roll," you're like, "Yep, they're dead."
Gone. Yep.
I mean, they weren't going to stand up against your fine swordsmanship and my sorcerer's might for very long anyway, even if we did go through the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
No.
and if even if they did, Cameron's failed summoning that brought out like a demon lord would have finished them off.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I was going to say basically, as John was saying, the likelihood of them surviving his magic and my sword were fairly small. And then if they did, we've got another magician and another knight
Yeah.
like with us.
Right, yeah. They were fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But there's like one of their failings here in this situation is, and that's something that, maybe Wyatt maybe Wyatt has some additional, words about going forward. Maybe we'll, shed some light on that. But, these folks, they believe in what they do. And
do.
sometimes that leads to them, taking chances that they maybe shouldn't.
It does. So I took this opportunity to actually get up off my ass and get on my computer at the very least. Although I sort of look like a swamp demon, so that's why I'm full off camera.
Yeah. Well, now that you mention it, have you been able to add in your rolls to?
I have been.
Yes.
That was one reason why I was taking I was like, so many.
Yeah.
Where is everything?
Okay. Well, good.
It's not really easy on the phone.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we have Cameron here. So we are smash cut into the abbey, and it is now sort of midday-ish, and the sky is sort of gone full gray. Like it's not stormy at all, but it's entirely overcast.
So I'll have asked Father Ambrogino whether we can use one of the back rooms.
Yeah. So you're in one of these fairly small, sort of sparsely. There's like a table and one sort of stool, and
I mean,
and you're there.
While we obviously we smash cut to when we're all here, but before Wyatt arrives, I'll have been helping Father Ambrogino with whatever sort of healing he's doing. There's anything I can do to help while he's there, before the others arrive. But mainly I want us in the back room so that if anyone walks past, they're not just going to see us and take it out on the abbey. So obviously we can defend ourselves, that's not a problem. But if they sort of storm in, all these poor sick people are probably going to get caught in the crossfire. Yeah, and I don't want that.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into presumably your discussions continue. So we're going to jump into that. So Cameron, you were going to launch into something before the sky was launched into something, and you are muted currently.
Yep, I was coming off mute. As you can see, Captain, our passage in the city does not go unnoticed. Our activities are ruffling a few feathers, shall we say.
What sort of activities would these be?
I don't want to sound pretentious, but we're trying to put the world in a better place. And the forces that do not want that to go ahead are starting to marshal towards us. Both metaphorically and physically. And in this case, seemingly assassins, even though Wyatt seemed to know them. But anyway, that's a problem for another moment. If is he with us now?
Yeah.
As you say that, you're in the back room,
entrance.
correct? The door flings open and Wyatt stands there. His hands are covered in blood and they're sort of dripping on the floor. And his eye, he has sort of this manic, malignant look on his face. Now, this would be a good opportunity for everybody in the room, but myself, to make a steals check because I have the spooky aura, which necessitates that. And I think this is
Wait,
actually
what?
a good moment to exercise that.
When have you had
So-
the spooky aura?
Oh, steel rolls, Nate, tucking my tune, son.
So the thing here is there something that
It's basically whenever you're in my presence, you have to roll this,
Yeah.
essentially. But we haven't been
and-
doing it, really.
Yeah, and we won't unless there's something to roll for, much like everything else in the game. So, is there something on the line here which could be affected by people, being shaken
Yes.
for a bit?
I think because obviously there's two avenues of this. A, any of these poor saps in this place who might suddenly want to try to riot because they think that there's a demon among them, and who knows, this may or may not change the captain's opinion of us. So I think that there's enough meat there. If it comes to anything.
Do I have to make the steel roll?
Yeah.
What's the difficulty for this roll?
So we haven't done a lot of this, so I will go through
Also
it.
fun. Try something new.
Yeah. And this
Actually,
is
it's not spooky aura. It's more badass sounding. It's aura of fear. So
Yeah, spooky is a character trait that you have.
Yeah, I just added the two together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going for a surprise here. So
Yeah.
you generally roll steel in cases of surprise, fear, pain, and wonderment, and we're going for a surprise here. And I guess fear, depending on. So
I guess it depends on who we're talking to here.
yeah. So the obstacle for a steal is 10 minus your will exponent, and this you can find on your sheet if you go to steal, and below that you will find hesitation. So let me just check that this is correct, because I'm looking at a very baseline sheet here that I'm using for my NPCs. Yeah, so it counts your hesitation from your will already. So there's that base thing that it says, and it's grayed out. So that is your base hesitation, which you will use for your hesitation unless you have some other stuff that affects that. So basically, your obstacle is your hesitation, and you're rolling your steel to overcome that. And there's some modifiers which I don't think we are going to apply anything here, because this isn't that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling
Yeah.
against a 6 difficulty.
Yes. Base obstacle 1.
Oh, okay.
That's what my hesitation is on my sheet. I do have like steel 7.
Yeah, that's wow.
Oh yeah. So yeah. No, sorry. So it calculates the base for you, which is 7. However, you need to put that into the socket itself, onto the place where you can actually write it.
Oh,
So,
so
for example,
the base is your difficulty.
yeah, that's
Oh, so
that's what you.
so it should be obstacle 7 I'm doing.
Yes. Which that's not a problem because we can. Oh well, there you go.
Wow.
You've got
I'll
a 6
spend
there,
a fail.
which doesn't. In this case, the effect is the same, but it's already open-ended. Steel always is. So what you're doing is you're rolling an extra one of those failed dice instead of the 6, because the 6 is already included there. But yeah, the effect is the same. You roll an extra die, and there you go.
Oh, there it is.
There you
There
go. So Cameron doesn't succeed. Okay, then let me roll for these schmucks.
I get some
here.
sweet XP while I stand there in awe.
There you go.
Hmm.
I'm glad I could oblige you.
So I'm gonna roll once for the entire NPC population here.
Yeah, you're doing it. Great roll though. Lots of 6s.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing their best.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Diseased peasants that they are.
Exactly.
So yeah, basically, like following Wyatt, there's that sort of background chatter of people murmuring and whispering to each other in worry as you approach here, but they're not in the room, so it's not going to be at the forefront right now.
Right.
But inside there, we're going. Oh well, let me check this. I don't have a proper idea, so we're just going to go with this, and he's going to be like that. It's going to be like this, and then we're going to roll, and we're going to roll for our friend here, the captain.
The good captain. I really hope this doesn't turn him off. He's had such a shine to Cameron so far.
Oh, he rolled absolutely dreadfully.
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
terrible
no.
roll.
Oh no.
Yeah. So what happens is I think the captain says after a bit, because this is basically what happens is Cameron and the captain basically lose like 4 seconds to being stunned.
And as they're sort of stunned, I'll just say, he's here. And then I'm gonna look for like a barrel of water or like a wash basin, and I'm gonna begin washing my hands.
I was going to say, given that I'm not hesitating, I sort of envisioned that I'd be just sort of standing straight up and offering you like a cloth. Cause...
Yeah, I'll be cleaning my hands as they come back to themselves, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Who's here,
Cameron?
Wyatt?
Oh, just family in town for a reunion. Yes, bloody reunion.
These people in the alley, aren't they your family? Says the captain.
At that, when he brings attention to himself, I'm going to point in his direction.
Mm-hmm.
You, my flame worshipping heretical friend, I find it oddly convenient that they came upon us when they did, considering who sent them.
Who would that be?
I try to shrink back, and my eyes get very hooded, and I just sort of stare at him. My fingers are making motions, but they're not actually casting. I'm just making geometric patterns with my fingers and hands. It's almost like a sort of like a nervous tick in a way. I don't think I even realize that I'm doing it as I sort of eyeball him. Cameron. I
Yes.
wave you over,
I
and
shake myself from my stunnedness. What?
I take both of your hands. I seize them and I grip them firmly, not painfully, but firmly. And I look into your eyes, and you can see that my eyes are almost completely like gray. Normally they're more of a sort of blue gray, but they almost look like a storm cloud. And I say to you, can we actually trust your new friend? Secrets in front of mixed company.
I look at the captain. Well, it's not many who can look me in the eye and not be disquieted.
Yes, yes.
My instinct is that he appears to be what he says he is.
If he's serving the powers, how do you know that those powers have our interests at heart? You know how, better than anyone in this room, how tricky they can be.
That is a vast philosophical debate, my friend. Whether or not we believe in the powers does not disentangle ourselves from their influence.
I agree.
But if you believe he's directly means us harm, I don't think.
Short of tying him to a chair in a basement and asking him very politely, do you vouch for him?
I trust Ishmael's judge of character. He could have picked someone who was a notable hero from that war, from the church's side. He could have picked a butcher. He didn't. He picked a man who came to understand his own faith, even if that does not rely on the church. I think he is true. As much as anyone can know someone's intentions.
Yes, yeah. Very well.
We'll find the truth in time.
I release your hands, and I will turn and I will sit at the table. I will fold my hands in front of me. They're still now. My eyes have sort of returned to their normal color. And I will look at the captain and I'll say, when you served the church, dear captain, you must have heard of a certain individual who goes by the name of Adelstan.
He looks at the wall for a bit.
Come now, don't
maybe,
be coy.
Maybe in someone in the crusade, is it?
How familiar are you with the Inquisitorius of the church?
Well, that's someone that right away I wouldn't have seen a lot, because that's people who like to stay at home. They're not at the front.
They only let you think that. They're everywhere.
Well, be that as it may, it certainly weren't in my tent. But
yes, you're too pious and pure and good. Is that what I'm led to believe, Captain?
No. It's just that I like my enemies to stand in front of me, so that we can.
When we were fighting at the front, we were fighting against enemy soldiers, their men-at-arms. We were not
my people. Yes, I remember.
We were not slinking through the shadows, rooting out disbelievers, both real and imagined.
No, you just tore babes from their mother's arms and burnt them in fires.
Indeed, both sides did the same.
No, well.
What are we getting at?
Wyatt, these Ishmael and the captain are not on trial here.
I'm not saying they are. As Ishmael pointed out, our side committed atrocities as well.
Are we trying to establish that people are, by their nature, less than what they should be? Because I think we can all agree to that.
Indeed, I don't think that needs to. I think that's been well established already.
I do believe that goes without saying. No. You asked about family. You asked about the men in the alley. Adelstan, the personal inquisitor of the highest flame herself, is my brother. and he's in town. Shall
And
we say?
these knife men would be
Oh, yes, they're some
your
of your types. Well, not you anymore, as you say. As you might have been if you hadn't seen the light, shall we say.
I'm sort of leaning against. Is it like a little shrine here, like or a
Like a
little?
back room, I think, like a storage room, or
yeah.
basically.
I'll be leaning against maybe like a bench. As you can see, Igris, we have a lot of work for you.
Oh,
It's going to be a real steep uphill
oh,
for a while.
Adestein is mine to deal with, Master Edwin.
Well, it seems like he's trying to deal with everyone, though.
Oh,
Perhaps,
yes. It
perhaps you
might have been
should deal
had
with him
something
then.
to perhaps maybe he just doesn't like my friends, or perhaps maybe it has something to do with the fact that I told him we have the crown to lure him here in the
All
first
right,
place.
so there's a crown. What?
Oh, since we're all friends, right, Master Edwin, Master Ishmael?
I was getting to the
The
crown.
captain should
I'm
know
sorry,
that
but someone just tried to kill us.
we have the one true crown in our possession, and our Master Edwin here is a true heir of the nobility of old Dosiria. Hey, you were the one who said you saw the light. Did not the light not tell you what you were in for, Master?
No, I did say all I knew was that this was the day and that was the place where I was meant to be. I did not know
You should
of
really ask more questions the next time you receive revelation. Just a piece of advice.
so. Am I to understand then that whatever bloodthirsty relatives aside, that
Oh, yes.
your interest lies in, well, you have not um banished the darkness from the people's hearts. It isn't a land of eternal sunshine.
We're getting to it. It is on the
So,
list.
but that is, this is, you are reestablishing the old kingdom. Am I to understand that this is what you're doing?
I do believe that was in our planning session last week. Yes, boys. Yes. It was make some eggs, cilantro, very important, and restore the old kingdom to all its glory. And while we're at it, each of us were going to take turns with 7 glorious virgins, etc., etc. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so flip about this. I'm mildly distracted.
Ishmael? Is this what you're doing now?
I believe Cameron to be a man of good character who, although his methods are not necessarily my own, he is genuinely attempting to do something that would be for the betterment of all in the restoration of the old kingdom, if you wish to call it that, against a greater foe, that is a greater darkness that is rising, that many are blind
Oh, it's
to.
plural. But
If nothing is done to unite the human kingdoms against this oncoming darkness, then it will bode very ill for all of us, regardless of faith. So I've decided to help Cameron in any way I can to achieve his aims. But as you know, my old friend, in any conflict, for make no mistake, when the great darkness falls, there will be another war, perhaps the greatest of wars, and perhaps the last of them. And in such dark times, we will need brave and honest men to be the light that will fight against that darkness. And when Cameron asked if I could put him in touch with any people from my old life who might fulfill that criteria, your name was the first that I thought.
He thinks very highly of you, and he doesn't like anybody normally.
I hadn't quite anticipated all this, but I'm not one to shirk from duty and
Indeed.
the proper fight for the good.
Indeed, although
So-
I'm no longer a man of faith such as you are, this rising darkness concerns all of us who reside in the various kingdoms of humanity, whatever banner they currently fly under. But unfortunately, it is a creeping darkness that is all too easy to ignore until it is too late, and many have turned their eyes away from it. Cameron here, at great personal risk to himself, has recovered the lost true crown, the one item that might be able to reunite the disparate human kingdoms. For it is only...
You may or may not be aware, I'm a Dark Watcher.
Indeed, it is only...
Probationary member, actually. But
It is only as a united people that we will be able to muster enough forces to stand against this darkness.
There's much to be done.
Indeed.
You probably have some sort of idea, Mr. Cameron, about what you and I should talk about. And I will make certain arrangements, and we will discuss the future at a later point in time. For the moment, I think, as I now join the battle, and indeed the battle is joined here in the very streets of our home.
An apt example I could not have really anticipated.
He goes over to Wyatt, puts a hand on your shoulder, and
I sort of regard it as if it's on fire, but I don't stop him.
He says, whatever distrust you may have for me is ultimately immaterial, though I do hope that you may be able to look past that. Maybe I can somehow win you over. However, that is also immaterial to the greater task at hand here. And we've all been called to this. And I, for one, would cure whatever ails you. And he says that very sort of, there's some weight there, and he squeezes your shoulder a bit and looks you straight in the eye. Like he's rather intense.
I stare right back at him. Same level of intensity.
He nods a bit and says that, like, whatever ails you, I would see cured, and if you would wish it to be so, for I can tell that this is I'm not very skilled in medicine, but I can tell that this is a wound that hurts you, and I would see that cured. Would you wish for me to scour the streets for your relative, for you to resolve whatever is it that pains you?
I dare say, Captain, now that you are part of our merry little band, he may find you before long. So watch your back. But if you do see him before I do, let me know and send him a kiss from me. Preferably one that has a sharp and pointy end.
I will send word if we find him.
Thank you, sir.
I will send word as well of any further developments. However, there are things I do need to tend to before we get on to, well, I suppose the real work.
Never a dull moment.
If I recall, your services were currently to the city.
Yes, the lady of the city.
I hope she will understand your decision to take a different path.
Inconsequential either way.
Although, do let her know we would like to speak with her at her earliest convenience.
I will send word.
I bow my head in his direction.
Yeah. He bows as well and says, be well and watch your step too. It appears that our foes close looks at Wyatt and far looks at Ishmael and Cameron, are bold and have long reach.
Be well, my old friend. We'll speak more on this matter.
Yeah, he nods once more to everyone and exits. And there we go. So, do we want to jump somewhere? Do we want to? What's on the agenda next for you guys?
Well, before we jump forward, Wyatt turns to Cameron. I think he fancies you. Now, you could do worse.
I look at the door he left from. Well, he is certainly a commanding figure. I didn't.
Big strapping man. Anyhow, we have business to attend, I'm sure.
We do. The initial part was far more easy than I was expecting.
Yes, now comes the hard part. Now, I have arranged for you, my friend, to meet someone of importance. His name is Lord Amir. He is, shall we say, he's the Lord Paramount of the Riathalian nobility in exile in Karamaros. Fancies himself the future lord of Riathal, if only he could get rid of the flame priests. I agree with his aspirations, of course. The covenant of flame must be driven into the sea and quenched forever. But his family and mine, let's just say, have a history. And unfortunately, as I am sadly was only the second son, I was not privy to the details. And of course, when my brother Adelstein turned and joined the Flame Priests, the house fell to me, and suddenly all of our enemies, whether I knew of them or not, looked at me like I had a forked tongue or two heads. Very disconcerting to be in a room full of people that hate you, and you don't quite know why. So,
I can relate.
I'm sure you can. So, this is who we shall be visiting this evening for dinner. I'll give you a moment to clean up, gather your thoughts. I do need to. And I kind of swoon for a moment. I do need to collect myself. So much of the power, so little time. But what you need to know about Carados, this is the name, the given name of Lord Emir, is that he is noble of spirit, of course, but a bit of a penny pitcher, and tends to look at the world in terms of what value he can extract from it. It is the way of his house. They have long been moneylenders and the financiers of our formerly grand city. And Carados, of course, seeks to leverage that now into being the future lord. Now, if you seek to be king, he would then become one of your vassals. So I advise you to choose your words more carefully than you have in the past, and be straightforward, but not too revealing. I'm not saying that he can't be trusted, but he can't be trusted. But we do need his support, especially if we intend to defeat the Covenant before this army from the north sweeps down upon our heads. So I shall give the two of you a moment while I see to myself and prepare for tonight. I have to say I'm not entirely looking forward to it, but this is the way, yes?
It is the way.
I should try and clean myself. There seems some blood spatter and stuff on me. I'm going to whisper to my familiar, actually. With all this talk about fate, I sometimes wonder, is this the Lord of Lights plan, or is this my grandpappy at work? It's almost see the threads.
Yeah, it licks its paw.
Yeah.
All right. So, shall we jump into a dinner? Or
before we do, I just want to make one single test. I need to try to resolve the fatigue. I have quaffed my last potion, which is a Alfrix Restorative, which provides a 1d bonus to my health check in order to attempt to get rid of this 2 points of fatigue. The difficulty for that is equal to the fatigue. Is that how that works, Wheelmaster?
Let me go check.
Thank you, sir. I couldn't quite find the full passage in the book.
So we're talking about tax, and this might be, let's see. Okay. Right. So you need 4 hours per lost die to recover, to make the attempt.
So do we say we have enough time to at least try to ameliorate one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, that works for me.
Yeah. So it's a health test, and the obstacle is equal to the number of 4 dice lost.
Right, so 2, essentially, right?
Oh, to determine how long it takes to recover. Okay, what is this shit? The full rest time? Meeting the obstacle reduces to... Okay, so basically, we're rolling for the whole thing, and we're going to see how
well you do. Okay,
how much you've recovered by the time, yeah.
Sweet.
So 2 dice, 2 obstacle.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you. And then I get a
health.
POTUS to that in there. 2 submit. Oh yeah, dog. Oh yeah, doggy.
Yeah. So
it's a margin of 3.
Yeah. So you've recovered entirely with that.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh.
So the question here is, in the sort of meantime here, before we jump into the next scene, is for Ishmael and Cameron, have they seen this before? The effect of, presumably, is what I was picking up, Wyatt's the power that he conjures seems to possess him a little bit. Is this something that they've seen before?
Not quite in this manner, no.
I mean, I imagine with Cameron, he would at least know that the mark of sorcery can manifest itself in various ways upon the the sorcerer. So I imagine it's not surprising to you, perhaps, maybe, but
Because what I was picking up was the sort of um, the when we start dealing with the sort of gale winds, other caution was thrown to the wind as well. the a definite change. So I thought we should definitely address this because it's probably something that people have seen before. Because you probably do magic because you have an instinct.
It's definitely not a kind of casting that he's been taught. He's always been instructed to be a little bit more conservative with his expenditure of energy. The forces he deals with fight back.
yeah. And they ask for much in return.
Yeah.
For you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at a manor then in the evening, and yeah, we're gonna have dinner with some exiled nobles from Riethel.
Now, when we arrive, I've put on the best clothes that I have. It sort of looks like a vaguely like a cross between a vaguely monastic, perhaps sorceress attire, plain, but also with sort of a military cut to it. So kind of a high collar, sort of tightly wound around the body, but made of a sort of a loose material because obviously we live in a warm clime in Kaer Amoros. And I have a hood over my head, and I'm wearing a white mask over my face.
Right. Does Ishmael have his Sunday best?
Yes, I'm wearing leper robes.
Yep.
Ishmael, smashing as ever.
And yeah, well, the whole event is set up. You are there. You don't really know a lot of people around here, but you can tell everyone's from Riethel. It's not a question. You're all from Riethel yourselves. Easy to tell. And there's multiple people do seem to know you, Ishmael, for you are a great war hero.
Indeed.
So there's been a couple of people who they want to they want to shake your hands. They want to ask you about the war.
They probably rethink
all
the whole shaking hands when they actually see my hands.
There's yeah, some of them do, but then there's some folks who clearly are on the up and up, and they come equipped with gloves for the specific purpose of shaking your hand.
That's fine. I'll politely shake the hand. We're here to sort of try and do things diplomatically. So, and I'm versed in sort of courtly behaviour from my previous life. So, I probably won't speak a great deal because I don't want to give anything away unnecessarily. But I will be polite and shake hands, etc.
Yep. So it's like a dozen Riethilan nobles in the manor, and yeah, there's food, drink. Everyone's called to the actual meal, so everyone's sitting down there, and there's a definite sort of like Wyatt, you sort of blend in quite well because they don't know you as a remarkable X, Y, or Z. Which is not the case for Ishmael, because Ishmael is sort of like Ishmael is a spectacle for these people.
For me, I'm just one of them.
Yeah.
Lesser in their eyes anyway. So.
Yeah, or like there's nothing sort of that stands out from
that's
you.
The way I like it.
In comparison to an actual war hero,
war hero,
and this guy with the eyes.
Gentlemen, try to mingle a little while. Karadas will come and find us when he is ready to speak. If you excuse me, I need to find somebody. Ta. And I'm going to move into the crowd.
Mhm.
I want to look for somebody specific. I don't know if a noble wise or circles rolls would
Circles is the thing to conjure up
be
people.
appropriate. Yeah, I do want to. I do want to conjure something specific.
Yep. So what are we talking about?
I want to conjure the Riathalian exile rumor monger information.
The harpy?
The harpy, essentially. Yes. I want to speak to the harpy. Essentially, I have
Yeah.
questions that they can resolve for me, and if I can,
Yeah.
convince them.
So let me take a look at your stuff here.
And this actually, I can actually leverage my 1D human ability.
Yeah, you
Ah,
can. Okay, so excuse me, I'm gonna mess with your sheet
oh,
here.
sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, okay, that's good. So yeah, it's obstacle 2.
Oof, could be tight.
So while Wyatt is scouring the crowd, Ishmael Cameron, you're being treated as sort of curiosities. You get a lot of attention from folks wanting to know about your stuff.
Okay.
I'm probably used to being looked on as something of a curiosity given my current appearance. But I'll be, obviously, if anyone asks about my sort of days during the Holy Wars, I'll be trying to give them like the sort of like the clip notes, like condensed version, sort of light on the details, but the sort of general overview of like certain battles and whatever. But Cameron's been knocking around me for a while, so he'll probably notice that I look quite uncomfortable while I'm discussing it.
Yeah, and it's you can tell some of these people have no idea about any of that. So when they ask for the details, they're like, "Oh, and I heard that, like this, this thing happened, and to you were there. It was gruesome as shit because it's war." They don't have the context at all. Clearly, some of them have just been nobles. Like estate management is their thing, not war. So
I'll probably drop a few things in sort of designed to sort of shock them, because I'm probably a little bit disgusted by their sort of like, oh, this is an exciting thing to talk about, and I'm like, oh, I was actually there, like wading through the blood and like listening to people die. So probably a few things like, just to give one example, like someone asking about, oh, you were there when the East Wall fell and so many men were killed, and I would just be like, tell me, have you ever held a dying man riddled in arrows in your arms, watched the life drain out of his eyes as the last word that he uttered was his loved one's name as he passed? That's what happened to the East Wall.
I awkwardly sip my champagne. That story. Could I go for a cheeky wise role that I'm learning?
What are you doing?
So I'm a little bit out of my element here. Last couple of years I've spent with the Dark Watchers, or digging through dungeons, or like out in the wild. Even though I do have a bit of a noble background, it's been a while since I've been amongst this masquerade of wealthy individuals. So I'm trying to just work out, a few things, like if tracing their family lines back, see if there's any actually that from Dol Sivriath, if any of these, if I recall them to be families with a storied history, that kind of thing. Any one of them known to be particularly ambitious, that kind of get in the lay of the land.
Okay, so there were a number of questions there.
Yeah, I know. Like he's kind of casting his net a bit wide. I could reel it in a bit if need be.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you need to set what you're trying to achieve, and the obstacle is proportional to that. So if you want to put out the noble history and current situation sonar to gain all that understanding from this dinner is rather more difficult than saying, oh, who's ambitious.
Okay. So what I will try then, I'll bring it down to the people in this room. Okay.
Yeah.
Who do I think is like the noble on top? Who do I think is one that's likely to be more like amenable to our suggestions. You know, like I'm trying to get the temperature of the room before we talk to this person.
All right. So, and what are you using to do
I'm
this?
using my Noble Wise, which is not learned, so it's going to be a
Yeah,
hell
it's
of
going
a
to be
ride.
great. It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be great.
Can I make a pick? Oh no, there's no help. Is there no help roll?
Can't help with that.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you're off talking to your own people.
Okay.
You can't learn without doing, right, guys?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, that's
Buckle up.
That's exactly what we're doing. So,
I mean, it all depends on the difficulty he sets, really.
yeah.
If he sets it as 1, the Wheelmaster is terribly generous.
No.
Wheelmaster
only have to
is
make it
generous.
2.
No, it's let me open up my thing here. So basically what we're doing is you're trying to roughly sketch some social hierarchy stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to work it out. I'm learning.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, let's call it a 2.
That is pretty generous. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but we're doing like surface level stuff, like you're picking up like
4, which is not impossible.
Yeah. 2 6s though.
Ooh. Wait, can I use Fate on a
base exponent 5?
I just want to set my house on fire.
Okay. So yeah, you can spend Fate on that.
And I roll twice.
Yeah, 2 dice.
Let's do it, guys. Let's do it.
Go, 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 go.
Okay.
This is what we play for.
Okay. I could have done them. I could have done them together, but I just thought I'd be more dramatic. Could actually succeed here. Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, but roll that 6.
We're again.
Yeah, you got a 6 on the first reroll.
Actually, you kind of misrolled that because it was 1d6. I want to fix that. Well.
Right.
And then
but I get an XP for it. So guys, coming on.
Well, no, I was going to say, as John was saying, when you got your roll of a 1, you typed in the formula wrong.
Yeah. So if you re-roll that one as well, yeah,
because you rolled 1d6.
I mean, that's up to the Wheelmaster if I can do that. Yeah. If he wants to punish me for my own ineptitude, that's fair.
Dirty.
That's a noble over there. I have found a noble.
I know you.
I found a noble and he's ambitious. So yeah, it's quite clear here. This is more or less the court of a would-be king, and the would-be king
hey, man, I'm trying.
is Caradas Emrin, and he's courtiers. Like this is his alliance of nobles who are sort of almost like the would-be government of Riethel in exile. But yeah, so that's what you can get from this evening.
All right. I'm going to introduce myself to a couple of people, see if I can gauge them in some conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and get my family to stay out of sight for the most part. No need to cause too much of a flummox here.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally I'll shoot Ishmael a kind of annoying look like these people have no idea.
I probably see that, and you see me sort of give you a very slight nod, and like the corner of my mouth twitches in like a very slight smile.
Yeah.
So. Mm-hmm. You didn't get any 6s for the circles, did you know?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I would have pumped it into it.
Yeah.
No. So, I don't want her to hate me, but I wouldn't mind maybe something. Maybe
Yeah, and that's not your call either way, though. But feel free to suggest, of course.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, I believe it's your call, sir.
So what we had on the table is Noble, who's basically like a rumor monger.
Correct. The woman
Right.
who knows things, essentially. In this particular arena, at least.
So, yeah. So what I will say is, it's yeah, it's like a Rheathilan spy who's here as a as an exile, much like the rest, and is sort of was at least in the good old days involved in many a clandestine thing that Rheathil wanted done. And yeah, so you find this lady, and already knows you, of course. That's her thing. And yeah, raises a glass when you eventually find your way there.
I raise my glass in return. Nelwyn, it's been far too long.
Time passes the same for everyone, Wyatt. What do you want?
Now, is that any way to speak to an old friend?
Things are changing.
They always do, my dear.
I can only tell you my price when you are going to say what you want.
Honestly, you have to be so gauche.
Let me put this in simple terms.
I am a simple man.
You're here because Caradas is thinking that you will be useful in cashing in the debts of various kinds at your households. So, you know, take it or leave it. That's where you are.
Frankly, I could give a damn what Carados wants or needs. As you well know, I do, however, require, shall we say, the nature of his enmity towards my family. Being only a humble second son, I perhaps missed that lesson.
No, I think that's something that most people have missed. It's not something I had been deep into either. However, you're buying this now for me.
I didn't expect you to give it up for free,
Yes.
darling.
Yes. So, word is there's another fool, even in this very city, that has a aspirations of, well, the worst kind, to do with the old stories about the crowns, whatnot.
Oh,
the usual
those
clowns.
fables.
Yes. So, you live on the streets. Well, I shouldn't say that, but you
wound me, my lady.
You know the streets.
I do,
and you walk them rather well. I understand.
I walk many places.
So I want you to find me this clown and bring them to us, and we'll have them dealt with.
Ooh, dealt with sounds so final.
We're not murderers here.
Oh, perish the thought that any of these fine and upstanding gentlemen and ladies would get their hands dirty. But my dear, and I'm going to gently take one of her hands in mine and look at her nails. I do see a bit of dirt beneath your fingernails, my love. So perhaps maybe we should be concerned for this fellow that I'd be bringing to you. I have to live here after all.
Right. So brass tacks, there cannot be any talk of this while we're going to move forwards towards the
Restoration.
the reclamation.
Indeed.
So we don't need a clown in the backyard talking about silly stories. It will detract from the message that we're going to be putting out. So this person doesn't need to end up face down in a ditch somewhere.
Let me guess, the message is going to be that Karadas is the grand savior of Riathol, and he shall drive forth and banish the flame, drive them into the sea, yada, blah, blah.
Well, not Karadas specifically, but we're going to, return home. Eventually, we will need to reestablish the royalty. We'll see about the names then.
I see. So
can you find me this?
Then, my dear,
this man, this clown.
I suppose I can. That is a small price to pay for the information that I seek.
Wonderful. Your father was, some would say, a traitor of the highest degree, for he cheated on his taxes a lot, habitually.
Wow.
And it's been covered up.
That was the least of his sins, but perhaps maybe.
Least maybe, but it's the one that he got caught on.
Ah, I see. Well,
so
unfortunately, the tax man doesn't come by my fief anymore because they burnt it.
I imagine so.
Yes.
But no, that is you.
I am an upstanding citizen. Ask anyone. My taxes always get paid, and my books always balance.
No. The sins of the fathers.
Yes. And since Adelstein is a right bastard in his own right.
Well, we're hardly going to tax him, are we?
I have other plans.
He's going straight to the sword. Not to the vaults to retrieve any gold for Karadas's war chest. No, you are the whipping boy of the erstwhile tax lord, and the bill, I think, is coming due, and I think you will be found with rather few coins in your pocket. Would I be correct in that?
Investments have been poor. We did have a siege here not too long ago.
And you're far away from Riathil, much like we all are. And Karadas is not going to let go of that. So I would say, in the interest of, deterring any internal friction here, just go with it and find this person that I care about very deeply, and we can smooth out things with Karadas in the long term. What I'm saying is, for now, just you're going to get hit and maybe don't punch back. Long-term thinking, Wyatt.
Long-term thinking. Long-term thinking. It's good advice. I shall consider it. Thank you.
Cheers.
One moment, my dear. Don't wander. I'm going to move back out into the crowd, and I'm going to approach Cameron. Is Ishmael with him, or
Feel
is
free
Ishmael
to-
still entangled with the nobility?
Yeah, however, you guys
I imagine I'm
want to set
getting
up.
quite a wide berth at the moment. Joke's on them, though. Soon I'll be known throughout the world.
Gentlemen, it seems like we have already drawn the interest of the court here. Cameron, do you see that attractive blonde and over there by the champagne bowl?
I scan the room. I think so.
Tall, has claws like a demon. Yes, that's Nelwyn. Minor nobility herself, but more importantly, has been sort of, say, a spy for many of the noble houses of Riathal over the years. Not sure who she's serving this evening. Well, she seems to be pitching for our boy Carados, but that could just be misdirection. I didn't want to probe too deeply.
Are you suggesting she needs taking out?
Oh, no. She wants you, my boy. Correction, she wants the fool claiming to possess the true crown. Apparently, you are a hindrance to our plans and our glorious reclamation of our fair city. So,
I glance around the room again. I think I should take that as a compliment.
I think you should. Unfortunately, what you see here is not the best of us. One or two of them, maybe, perhaps, but most of them are sycophants and hanger-ons, Carados's crowd, and I disdain them. Nelwyn was kind enough to suggest that we should not rock the boat, that we should take our lumps, present you on a silver platter, and me, I would be, shall we say, put over a barrel, possibly quite literally. I hear very strange things about Carados. Actually, I started those rumors myself, but don't tell anyone.
Well,
the point is, and the ball is, as they say, in your court here, Master Edwin, how you proceed. What do you want them to believe of you? Carados will not give up his claims to Riathal and to empire that he sees in his future. He's always had eyes bigger than his reach.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's up to you. Do we play nicely and court Carados and these so-called noble people? Or do you show them who you are?
My instincts for the moment to make it seem that it's in their best interests to help us.
The only
I
way
wasn't going to play up the crown aspect too much.
The only way they will be convinced of that is with money or power or both. We don't have money, but
we don't have the money to.
We do have power. You have the crown, and if you
only
make
if
a spectacle,
we use it.
Well, I dare say a spectacle would be awe-inspiring. It would perhaps cow these fools. convince them that perhaps your banner is mightier than Karados's. He's as I said, a penny pusher at the end of the day. He's not a great warrior or sorcerer or thinker even, but he's shrewd and clever in his own way. Given enough time with him on the board, free to do as he wills, he will work against us. Me specifically, apparently my father failed to pay
I did
taxes.
not need you to tell me that. This place is...
I apologize, Master Wedwin. I don't mean to tell you things you
more
already know.
diseased than Ishmael, and I don't mean to insult Ishmael.
Don't insult our friend here. He is far more hardy in hail than Lee's crowd.
I don't take any offence. I loathe and despise these people.
On that we do agree. But they are my people, and they are your people, Ishmael. And Cameron, I dare say they are your people as well. So, we must do as they do in Riethal, as they say. Yes? You know, when in Riethal.
Well,
But I leave it to you, Master Weather. This is your moment.
Choose your destiny.
choose your destiny. I was going to appeal towards their magnanimous selves.
They don't have them.
If that does not work, then I will look to history.
As you say. Be careful. If you choose wrongly, this will go very badly for all of us, but you especially.
Well, I thought this morning's meeting was going to be the hard one.
No. No. Some former war hero with delusions of divinity speaking to him and child's play compared to you.
So am I understanding correctly that we're going to have, like, as a part of the dinner itself, there's going to be a pitch from Cameron to sell them on the idea, if we're going with your last word, which is the history part, that you're going to sell them the idea of reestablishing the kingdom?
Well, sort of, yes. Not quite, maybe not quite the way that I might have implied there. It's more on the lines of they've been pushed out of Riethil because they did not meet the culture of the city, how it became, correct?
They got pushed out
They got
because of
squeezed out.
Yeah, they left because
the religious schism.
the covenant
Yeah.
of the first flame took over, and they elected not to, join the party.
So my idea was to say to them, well, if you want to get on the ground floor of this, throw in others now before other people join, and you lose the opportunity, and you end up on the wrong side of this.
Okay, right. And the thing we need to define is, what is this? Wrong side of what?
Okay.
What are you pitching?
That's the thing that's what Wyatt's saying. Essentially, you
Yeah.
need to show them
Not
you have
necessarily
the power to back up.
not necessarily reforging an old idea like with the old kingdom, but forging something new. Learning from what was to create something unified.
And what is the unified? Are you saying we have the crown? Let's do this. Are you with me? Is that what you're
This
saying?
is basically what Wyatt is saying. You need to basically do, because they're not gonna take you seriously if you don't show them that you have the power to do the things that they want to do, which is take back their city, have an empire, be rich and powerful again, all this other jazz, crush the covenant, obviously being a bonus. Yeah. That's how Wyatt's advising you, essentially. You either need to show them the money or show them the power. You don't have money, so.
Yeah, I will go with the crown. I will.
Right. Let's.
Do you have
let's
the
roll.
crown? Does Cameron have it on him then?
No.
Yeah. You don't need to display it necessarily, but using it as the sort of justification. Okay, so.
Well, having it and showing it would have been probably added to our case, but
that would have been a different thing here. It would have been maybe like, yeah, you get an extra die if you actually bring out the most important object in the world. Right. So you want to convince these people to support your version of the new society, the new sort of unified
It's
kingdom.
kind of like, yeah, this is going to be a collection of the fragments of what before, but we're not trying to copy Dulciriath.
Mhm,
Which, like, that's that they made mistakes. We shouldn't repeat those mistakes.
mhm.
We should try and build something better in the now with what
Yeah.
we have. Because if we don't, we're even more fucked than we. Then they have no idea what's coming because obviously they've been sat in their little houses.
Is this with Cameron at the helm,
Yes.
the new sort of setup that you're
I'll
pitching?
help. I'll throw in any helping that
I'm not saying that I am the focal point.
Hmm.
I'm gonna sort of shift it towards the Dark Watchers because I haven't still said I'm taking the crown for me.
Hmm.
Because I still decide if that is the right thing to do. Because I come with some significant complications.
Right.
So before you go down that route, presuming that you're saying any of this to, are you saying any of this to us? Why?
Yeah, of course. I'm not gonna.
Okay,
yeah,
so
you guys can plan your
And I would have said
pitch.
some of this stuff in previous, like this is kind of like the.
Wyatt is going to be very clear that if Cameron isn't ready to actually step up, then he needs to go in a different direction. If he's stepping up, then he'll be challenging Karados directly, essentially. So that would be, either win everyone here now and he has to fall into line, or we don't, and then suddenly we made him an enemy.
I don't want to make an enemy of him immediately. We are not strong enough to take on the city.
He doesn't control a city; he controls this. But my point being is that if you're not ready, if you choose to not wield the crown and become, the king, well, that is of
Do
course
not say it's my
yours.
destiny again, because that just weirds me out. Especially, you sound like someone I used to know.
Destiny has marked you, my friend.
It's marked all of us.
Indeed, but it hasn't marked me or Ishmael as the future king of humanity. We are but players in this stage. Yes, Ishmael? Yes?
I don't believe in destiny.
I forgot who I was talking to.
In this world, Cameron, you make your own destiny. Do what you think is right.
That is what I am saying.
I think I can win him over.
Then you should make a private appeal to him.
Mm-hmm.
If you challenge him openly.
No, I think the idea that he would be able to influence or choose the person who bears it might be too much temptation for him.
Who, Karados?
Yes.
He should not be allowed within a league of the crown. He's already way too close to it, for my liking. If it were up to me, you would simply wield the crown, tell them as it was going to be, and then we put Karados' head on a spike. But that is not for me to decide. I'm simply advising.
My predecessors ruled it in that way. I do not wish to choose that style.
I understand.
Go that way.
And I think that does you credit.
One of them has refused to stay dead, so I am going to do the good grace. Try and live like a man.
I agree with Wyatt. This attitude does you credit, but if you are truly seeking to weld together a future kingdom, it will be impossible to avoid staining your hands with blood at some point.
Or wielding power.
Yeah.
You have to choose now whether to wield power or we find someone else. But this is the moment.
Indeed, Wyatt is correct. This decision has to be made now. You either accept the mantle of this crown and your real work begins, and some of it will be unpleasant, and there will be the shedding of blood that is unavoidable, or you pass this mantle on to somebody else. but you cannot remain in a state of indecision quite forever. The longer this decision is delayed, the more strength the darkness will gather, and the more difficult it will be when a decision is finally made for someone to move forward. The more time
Unless we forget your ancestor is coming from the north, the longer we delay in uniting the fractious human nations, the less of us are left to defy this Flame King.
As they're saying this, I kind of fade out for a second. I just hear the echo of a voice that neither of them have ever heard, just saying, "But Cameron, I made you this way."
The building of a kingdom, Cameron, is no quick thing. The more time whoever accepts the mantle of the crown has, the more stronger and sure this kingdom will be, and the more chance they will have to build it before it is.
The more lives will stay.
Indeed, before it is put to its first and perhaps greatest test against the enemy that we all know is coming.
So many enemies, so little time.
This is not a path I would choose for myself. But if this is what it takes, if this is the cost,
very, very few of us get to choose our own path, but it is up to you to make the best decision you can in the situation you now find yourself in.
I say this, that if I walk this path, I may not make it to the end, and that you may have to place this crown upon someone else's head at some point.
You shall, if it comes to it.
You should consider who else is worthy of this thing, because I may not do a good job, but
I shall put it on my to-do list. But for now, Master Redwin, my liege.
Please.
And actually, I kneel.
Oh God!
Before him when
we're going in.
I'm going in.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. I'll kneel next to Wyatt, and I'll do that thing. You know, where you reverse your sword and hold it over your arm, like towards the person you're swearing fealty to.
Mm-hmm. And there's as this happens, and Cameron is like, "Oh boy!" There's one of the nobles who turns over like, "What?
Rise, you fools!"
When that happens, when they begin to notice, I'm going to rise, and I'm going to turn, and since they all know who I am, I'll speak first. Behold, Cameron, first of his name, King of humanity. Behold him who wields the true crown against the darkness and leads us into the light.
Here we go.
So there's a shot, like everyone fails their steel rolls. there's a shockwave of silence that just wipes through the room, and then there's like the sort of like slow trickling up of like the like people struggling for words.
As they're stuttering and Wyatt stopped, I'm going to sort of step up, so I'm stood like level with Wyatt, and I'm going to say, "Let all brave and true warriors who would take a stand against the darkness swear their loyalty to Cameron now, and together we will forge an army the like of which has never been seen, and we will strike back against that which threatens all of humanity."
Incredible. Let's make a roll. There's different ways we could go about this, because there's kind of, I was thinking of who's the person rolling and who are the ones helping. And I think there is a case to be made for any one of you now.
Yeah.
So you guys, figure out like who is the main thrust. I kind of feel like it could be now, because now we have an intent and Ishmael put it out. So I think Ishmael might be a good pick for the roller, and then
I'm fine with that.
But like you guys are free to determine. That's just what I.
As long as the ultimate intention is that we're corralling them all under Cameron's banner, then I think that's let Ishmael roll it.
Yeah, I'm attempting to use my etiquette by like couching it in like the sort of old phrases of like fealty.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was. Yeah.
And then
Your etiquette's better than mine, I think.
yeah, Wyatt, what are you using to help? I presume you want to pitch in because this is
Yeah,
gonna be
totally. Let's see here. Oh, I have etiquette. Etiquette or noble wise, either one.
Yeah, wonderful. Cameron.
Can you use the same skill twice?
Yeah. No worries about that.
Because I also have etiquette actually.
Wonderful. It's
Oh, we're
etiquette.
just piling it up.
Etiquette a go go.
So
You're
all day, baby.
you're
I just
talking.
thought I thought I'd actually help out you guys.
There you go.
You're amongst your own here.
Do we get the XP as well for if it's a ticket?
Yeah,
always forget this.
everyone
Yeah,
who's involved gets the ticket.
Right.
And
Okay.
then do we get to pump it up even further by throwing in our weight of our reputations behind it, or we only give one?
No. The thing. Yeah, you give the helping die, and then we get.
That's cool. I just wanted to verify.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 helping die. Can I whap anything for my Reathlon ability or old war hero regional rep?
I'm gonna say the reputation you can. It's a circles mechanic, but because it's very strong for you, and these people already we have established that they appreciate you, so you can get an extra advantage for your immense reputation among these people as a war hero. And
if I physically do a thing, can that reduce the difficulty?
what are you doing?
I had an idea.
But...
It was a crazy idea. It was just rattling on the back of my head.
What, fireball?
I will summon the god of crowns.
You're not too far off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
have 4 spells that I can do in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is create a light, but I can shape that as I want.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
see where
If
you're
I
going.
if I shaped it into a crown,
Oh yes, please.
So it's just like a crown of lights, like onto your hat. Amazing. Yeah, do that.
The production value of
I
this.
was just
I
trying to
didn't even
think
care if the roll fails. That's amazing.
Me too.
how dumb I was trying to work out how dumb are these nobles to just be fooled by a simple light spell.
Thing is, they don't know shit. They don't have any
So-
sorcerers here. As far
so,
as I know. I'm the
um,
sorcerer here.
Yeah, you do know that there are Reathlon sorcerers that basically are being led by their erstwhile lord, which
Of
is
course.
now. But yeah, that if you pull that off, you can get Ishmael. You can get an additional advantage die, so a total of 2 advantage die plus 2 helping dice.
Okay, well,
So
I'll
Cameron.
wait for Cameron to
Yeah.
do his rolling.
Yeah, let's
It was just this idea I had.
Oh.
I could do that at one point. I could shape it.
let's
How
like the
difficult
fairy
will that
light
be
spell
though
or
as a
something
spell?
like
Because it's not a standard. shape?
let me look at the thing here.
But I
don't
could
think,
make it any kind of crown I want, really.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know
think
what the crown
that
looks like,
matters
so-
at the end of the day too much.
Could make
Let's
it into
look
a
at your-
halo. Could make it into a.
As long as it looks
No.
like the crown, I don't think they're gonna know the difference.
So mage light is it?
Yeah.
Go on, Cameron, drop
So-
that off like it's hot.
So
like it's hot.
you only need to get like a light going, depending on like how extravagant do you want it to be. Do you want to go for the minimum obstacle for the like glowy outline of a crown, or do you want
I
to go
think I'll go more.
It needs to be
It's
brilliant.
kind of-
It needs to be full
It's like
bore.
refined and elegant rather than flashy.
so you pick the as is the case with mage light, you pick the obstacle there.
Oh, I picked the obstacle.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
check out the thing there, the text for the thing. So
Oh,
basi-
I'll go obstacle 2, moonlight, kind of like
Moonlight.
a
Yeah.
shimmer.
And these nobles will be carried away by a moonlight shadow.
All right.
There we go.
Mhm. Okay, so basically, yeah,
Cool.
+2, so that's an obstacle 6.
Spend Arthur.
What? It's an obstacle. Oh, right.
Baseline 4.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 4
oh,
plus
mall.
the-
Oh, balls. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
can I
okay.
assist him with that?
Not really. Not really.
Tell you what, Cameron.
Can't help him on the sly.
I'm hoping if this roll fails, just like a fox head appears above you and is like, gives a wink and then like that.
Hey, it's my
Since I'm doing
boy.
like, since I'm doing moonlight, can I fork in astrology?
Well, you can do that
You
anyway.
can do force, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna fork in astrology
Yeah.
because it's
Roll that
destiny.
separately. Roll that separate.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, because it has the
So
weird.
just roll the astrology as a separate
Yeah,
skill
yeah.
now.
Roll everything else normally, and then add the extra one from astrology after the roll.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
just roll
don't
manually.
roll the skill. Just
Yeah.
roll it after. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Cool,
So,
guys. Cool.
I will inform you because this let's state for the record that I want this to fail so bad because I want this to go on the Wheel of Magic because that would be tremendous. But so
Dude, come on.
I both want it to succeed and fail. I'm good either way.
yeah.
I think either way is going to be
Yeah,
brilliant.
we're winning Tiger Blood. So
Winning.
you can put 3 persona into a single roll.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing I remember about this game. You can put 3 persona in. I can't think there's anything else I can fork in.
So let's revisit your sorcery forks. Boop.
And I think you could fork in as many as
Yep, anything on that list.
like
You can-
basically if it makes sense. So like for example, it's like a halo-like crown, and Prelia maybe might, be able to be in there.
Yeah, and it's on the list. So
So, stuff like
Astronomy. Oh, astrology and astronomy is different. Okay.
yeah, one of them is real.
that.
I kind of
now.
want to put in the angel one, Emperelia. Well,
Emperelia. Yeah.
And Prelia. Mhm.
But I really don't want to fuck this up. Yeah, I'll put that in there. I can. So I've put in the angel juice. Could I put in Dulciria wise?
No.
Nope. No, it's a sorcery, so it's
Right, I'm putting 3 Arthur in.
Specific.
I'm going all in. Okay.
Oh, okay, we're going ham.
Base obstacle 6, yeah?
If you want to go with the moonlight, yeah.
Yep.
Let's go. Moonlight crown.
Oh
There
my
we go.
God.
Oh, big!
This look at those sixes,
That's
guys.
the best roll I've
Look at
ever
those
made.
sixes.
Holy
If
hell!
I spend 1 fit, I can re-roll all those 6s.
Now you can roll 1 additional die because it already re-rolled
Yeah.
all those 6s.
And you might as well because it'll help boost you up for later
Oh
on.
yeah.
To shade shift.
There we go. So that is a tremendous roll for everyone watching at home. That is 9 successes against obstacle 6. So, and only on 8 dice. So 9 successes, but we rolled 8 dice. But then we had so
Oh, I
much
got a
qualities.
challenging thing as well. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, so
Oh, that's on my sorcery, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
yes. So
God damn it.
so-
I need to
so-
refresh.
the thing is in motion now. You've knelt, and then we go like, "Hail Cameron, the first of his name, defender of the realm, slayer of darkness, kneel before him."
Wearer of the glowy crown of glory.
And then Cameron goes, and there's the intricate crown woven from starlight and moonlight descends or appears whichever way you want because it's your spell onto Cameron's brow, and then Cameron proceeds to convince these people that this is the real thing,
Okay.
or Ishmael rather. Sorry, with the
okay.
The force of our
Yeah.
Ishmael Alliance oratory is
Yeah.
going to do the convincing.
Can I
So-
use my additional successes to help him in any way? Or is that
not really, but
That
you're-
created the advantage dice, though,
Yeah.
so he's already
Yeah.
got the benefit of it. Yeah.
like your spell is rocking, but that's
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I'm like,
and
Wyatt,
Chloe.
look, it did it.
I did the
All
thing.
right, now you
So
go.
for Ishmael, you're rolling your etiquette.
Dice.
If you have
Plus all the
Artha, you can put
benefits.
that in.
Yeah.
Then 2 helping and 2 advantage, so a combination of 4 additional dice.
The moment.
And
Plus
then-
the M1 from my noble
Yeah.
reputation.
And I think in this instance, because I think we're gonna go with the average, because your boy, too many names. I'm blanking out.
Paradox.
Caradas, yeah, your boy Caradas has more willpower than the rest of these guys, but we're gonna go with the sort of amalgamated thing here. So social roll, we're just gonna go against the standard of what their willpower is. Let's go against an obstacle 4 baseline, and that'll be the thing. It might not get Caradas. There we go. And you have a 6 as well.
Oh, definitely.
Don't really need it necessarily, but
I'll
free to
re-roll it.
show.
Why not?
Yep.
I've got a fail for it.
Yep.
Pump that baby up.
No,
Yep.
still
Well,
success.
Okay. Yeah. So, so what happens is a tremendous display, and you succeed in your proclamation with the. You have justified both by spectacle and procedure that this is the real thing. you proclaim, according to the old forms, that this is the king. Bend the knee, as is your duty, and it gets everyone sort of shaken out of their sort of stunned, incredulousness as to what's going on, and gradually there's like people putting down like, oh, I was about to eat this pastry, but I guess the pastry can wait, and then they go like do the like, as is appropriate to like a royal person, they do the sort of bowing and scraping, and then at the end of the hall, Caradas stands up from where he was sitting at the end of the table. This a little bit like, this is like an aged man, like bald, has a beard going as well, and just full of spite, just like slams his fist into the table and just like, no, there is no room for a pretender. And then you have I'm gonna need to just scroll this up. So he is stopped mid-sentence by Nelwyn with a steak knife. He gets his throat cut open, like flops over.
I'm so glad I didn't bring Cameron to her, because this is what I thought she was gonna do. Jesus Christ.
So Caradas throat opened up, like just a gout of crimson spills out on the table,
and I can't help but smile when I see him exsanguinate onto the table.
And
I think I'm going to try and put a bit of a sort of verbal flourish on that, when I'm going to be like, "Thus perish all who would place their own interests above the survival of humankind."
And at the end of the hall, still with the bloody steak knife in hand, you can see Nelwyn do the etiquette mandated bow as well. And there's there's like
let's get the crowd chant going.
There's a page, like a young page, who's sort of like, oh, I've studied this part, and then gets up like from the bowing and gets like a goblet and a fork, and just like starts banging on it to sort of get everyone's attention, and then just like, "Hail Cameron King!" And then slowly everyone starts picking up the chant.
I'm gonna sort of hold my sword
"Hail
up
the
and
King!"
repeat.
No, and it's a resounding "Hail Cameron! Hail the King!" And that's sort of like where the camera spins over the hall, where there's the bled out corpse of Caradas at the end of the table, and everyone else is like, holy shit, this is what we were like. You sort of manufactured the exact answer to what they had already been promised,
right?
Which is the
they
return
didn't
of
know,
the
so
king.
they thought this was the thing. So that's why Nelwyn went leading into it. Wyatt's just sort of dawning on Wyatt as the scene fades. It's like, that clever minx played right into her hand, didn't I?
And so like the scene ends with sort of everyone getting into it, and there's eventually it goes from the sort of abject adoration and sort of transition into like, we might actually do this. Like there's actually hope. It wasn't just us talking and reminiscing. It might actually be a thing, because look at this dude with the starlight crown, just like in the stories. And then there's more jubilation as well, rather than just like the obeisance towards the king. And the scene fades with you guys being celebrated, and there's like things being thrown in the air, and
it's like the end of A New Hope.
Yeah.
Now I'm just gonna be that was incredible.
That was some. Yeah, we went somewhere.
Yeah,
that
went in a way. Oof.
Yeah,
I did like the way we got to the end of the scene and we were like, set rolls to spicy.
It's so like, oh, these people and they're misguided. Oh, we're doing it now.
Oh shit.
Let me just make a roll on my muy caliente skill.
Turn up the heat. There's like 5 skulls next to this thing on the menu.
Nuclear, bro.
Fair play to Cameron though, with like, oh, his magical crown of light descending on him. That was choice. That was, man.
That was the best. That was the
That
best.
was, yeah.
I didn't
was-
expect it. But I
that's-
forgot you had that spell.
I'd had that in my back pocket for a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
I did like Jordan's expression as he suddenly realized where I was going. He was like, ah.
Yeah, you couldn't see mine, but I had the same. Like, oh my
Ah, I
god.
see.
It was when you were like, oh, the light can be shaped. You say.
Oh, then, like a crown, maybe.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Well,
Yeah,
thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
running that. Very much
Thank you,
enjoyed that.
guys.
That was great.
Yeah, that was
Fantastic.
wonderful.
Oh,
that was
shit.
wonderful.
Right,
Yeah,
obviously,
and that-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that we're going to pick up with a vastly different situation next time.
Yeah. I dare say
And,
we changed the game.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, we're going to pick up from there next time.
Excellent. Well, thanks again. I will end the
Thank you,
stream
Anna.
here. Obviously, we can sort
Thank
out
you.
Arthur and whatever. But
Yep.
for now, thanks, Giannis, for running it. And thanks for everyone else.
Yeah.
Been a brilliant segment.
Fantastic.